if I told you that one of the greatest strikers of all time didn't grow up in luxury, talent academies, or elite schools? What if I told you he grew up stealing bikes just to get to training? This is the untold story of Zlatan Ibrahimovic, a boy from the rough streets of Malmo, Sweden. Born into chaos, raised in survival, and transformed into one of football's most feared strikers.
Gets now from underneath his feet, into the centre, Ibrahimovic. In the right place, Ibrahimovic, who somehow manages to find the ball.
This isn't just about goals or trophies, this is about grit, defiance, and a relentless hunger to rise when the world expects you to fall. Let's rewind to where it all began. Zlatan Ibrahimovic was born on October 3, 1981, in Rosengård, a rough, crime-ridden suburb of Malmo, Sweden. His father was a Bosnian Muslim and his mother a Croatian Catholic. They divorced when he was just 2 years old. Zlatan lived with his mom in a crowded apartment, often without electricity or food. He recalled once opening the fridge and seeing just a bottle of ketchup. No bread, no milk, just ketchup. I ate on the floor, I wore torn shoes, and I fought for every single thing I had, Zlatan once said. At home, he faced violence. His mother had a quick temper. Zlatan described moments where she would beat him with spoons and hangers. Eventually, he was sent to live with his father, Sefik. But Sefik worked night shifts, drank heavily, and was rarely present. So, young Zlatan had to grow up fast on his own. On the streets of Rosengård, Zlatan learned to survive. He wasn't the tallest, the fastest, or the smartest, but he was scrappy, relentless, fearless. He got into fights almost daily, he shoplifted candy, energy drinks, and eventually bicycles, just so he could make it to football practice. If I didn't steal a bike, I couldn't get to training. Simple as that. Kids laughed at his clothes. Teachers said he wouldn't make it. One even suggested he should be transferred to a school for kids with behavioral problems. Zlatan didn't care. He wasn't trying to fit in. He was trying to get out. Football was the only place he felt free. Oh, and if you're enjoying the story so far, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more amazing football tales. Zlatan joined his first club, FBK Balkan, a team run by immigrants. Even then he stood out not just because of his talent, but his attitude. He'd argue with teammates. He would try outrageous skills during matches, and if someone tackled him too hard, he'd tackle back, twice as hard. By 15, he almost quit football altogether. He was frustrated, poor, and close to working at the Malmo docks like many in his area. But one coach, likely sensing the fire in him, begged him to stay. Zlatan agreed. That single decision changed football history. At 17, Zlatan signed with Malmo FF, but even there, he wasn't embraced right away. Many thought he was too selfish, too arrogant, too unpredictable. But no one could deny his brilliance. He'd pull off dribbles no one taught him, he'd score from angles that made no sense. Word began to spread. This tall, lanky kid from Rosengård had something special. When Arsene Wenger invited him to trial at Arsenal, Zlatan famously said, "Zlatan doesn't do auditions." That wasn't arrogance, it was survival confidence. He had been underestimated his whole life, he wasn't going to let it happen again. In 2001, Ajax paid €9 million for the 19-year-old Zlatan. In Amsterdam, he sharpened his skills and built his reputation, but he also fought with teammates and coaches. Once, he broke Rafael van der Vaart's ankle in training, then refused to apologize. Still, he scored stunning goals, one in particular where he dribbled past 6 defenders, made global headlines. It was pure Zlatan. Unpredictable, powerful, unforgettable. Next came Juventus, then Inter Milan. At Inter, he dominated Serie A. 3 straight league titles, countless goals, but the real drama came next, when he moved to Barcelona. Barcelona was supposed to be his dream move, playing under Pep Guardiola, teaming up with Messi, Xavi, and Iniesta. But Zlatan didn't fit the system. Pep moved Messi to a central role and Zlatan was pushed wide. Zlatan didn't hide his frustration. He once kicked a locker and screamed, "You bought a Ferrari, but you drive it like a Fiat." By the end of the season, despite scoring 21 goals, he was benched. Zlatan left Barcelona a year later, calling Guardiola a coward and the most immature manager he had ever worked with. Still, Zlatan never looked back. He joined AC Milan and led them to a Serie A title, and then came PSG, where he truly became a god. He scored 156 goals in 180 matches, he won 4 straight League One titles, and he once said, "I came like a king, left like a legend." Zlatan wasn't just scoring, he was building an empire. His charisma, quotes, and dominance made him a global icon. At 35, most players fade. Zlatan signed for Manchester United. Critics laughed, but in one season, he silenced them all. 28 goals, a Europa League title, an EFL Cup, and the Community Shield. Even a torn ACL didn't stop him. At 37, he joined La Galaxy. On his debut, he scored a 40-yard volley, and he said lines don't compare themselves with humans. At 39, back at AC Milan, he was still dominating games. In 2021, he became the oldest goal scorer in Serie A history. He retired at 41, but not because he couldn't compete, he simply knew when the chapter had ended. Zlatan wasn't just a player, he was a movement, a symbol of what happens when pain turns into power. From an immigrant child in Sweden to a global superstar worth over $200 million, from a boy stealing bikes to a man who gave his people pride, he didn't win the Ballon d'Or, but he won the streets, the stadiums, and the respect of millions. "I'm not like you. I'm Zlatan," he once said, and the world will never forget that name. If Zlatan's story inspired you even just a little, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more real football stories like this one. Drop a comment and tell us, what's your favorite Zlatan moment? The bicycle kick against England? The fiery press conferences? Or just the way he never backed down? Because in a world full of conformists, Zlatan stood tall, loud, and unapologetically proud.